Hi, gang. Hello, hello. Happy Inauguration Day. Happy Inauguration Day from our nation's capital. I'm at the Sirius XM headquarters in Washington, D.C. Always love coming here. It's a great facility. The performance space at the end of the hall. Great to see Dan. The inaugural address is President Trump, because he'll be President Trump by the time he delivers it. President Trump again. Is he going to be conciliatory or combative? I have thoughts. Give me a moment before you're voting. So many people are already voting. I want to weigh in on this. First of all, that Detroit Philadelphia collision, not going to happen after all, huh? Wow. How about Washington? It was such a great weekend for pro football. And then tonight is the national championship for college football. It's hard to keep abreast of this news cycle. I just loved watching the games in the snow. I loved watching Buffalo and Baltimore. Last night, I loved watching earlier in the day the Philadelphia game with Los Angeles. But Washington and Detroit, I mean, from the get-go, Washington just had a head of steam, and I got to respect it because they had a losing record last year. And to think that Washington is now one game from going to the Super Bowl, that's really amazing. I don't think they'll get to the Super Bowl. I think Philadelphia will get to the Super Bowl, but it was a wonderful weekend for football, pro football, and then tonight's going to be exciting as well with the Ohio State and Notre Dame. One more reason to pay attention to my friends at Parks Casino and also Play Gun Lake, although I will not be going to Michigan, will I, to collect all my winnings. Oh, well. 2025 is here. Parks Casino in Pennsylvania has rolled out an unbelievable list of entertainers. Actor Richard Kind from Curb Your Enthusiasm is this week, 4 days away. Do you know that he's a Bucks Countyan like me? I think he may have attended the Pennsbury High School. And when I was at CB West, we played Pennsbury in football. I wonder if we're contemporaries. I have to figure out how old he is. Cole Swindell, Jerry Cantrell, Scott McGreery from American Idol, magician Michael Carbonaro, a second show added for comedian Ron White, country superstar Lee Brice, Larry the Cable Guy, Kevin Downey Jr. for America's Got Talent. I mean, whatever you're interested in, they've got it all going on inside at Parks Casino, not to mention all the fun table games, all the action, the excitement, the good food, whatever you're looking for, get out of the frigid weather by going to Parks Casino. You can buy tickets for all shows at parkscasino.com. Parks Casino, you got to be 21. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So again, I bid you all a very happy Inauguration Day, or as it's shaping up, happy Pardon Day, because President Biden has just issued preemptive pardons for, among others, General Milley, Dr. Fauci, and also some of those involved in the January 6th congressional investigation. So you've got this is the juxtaposition of the day. You've got President Biden issuing preemptive pardons for those who investigated January 6th. And then you heard President Trump perhaps yesterday in his remarks saying that today he will be taking action on the J6ers. So he will be providing cover for certain of those who are entangled in the law, convicted, maybe still in the process for the events of January 6th. I'm in Washington, D.C. today, not only to host a few hours of coverage on radio, but also then this afternoon to participate in CNN's coverage. I will put on my tie and I will participate with Anderson Cooper all afternoon on a CNN panel as these events unfold. It's funny, I remember 8 years ago also being here in Washington for the CNN coverage. That day outdoors, today will be indoors. But I remember well being on a rooftop adjacent to the Capitol and having attended previous inaugurations, the first of which was 1981 with my father. Very exciting day to be here. I may put that picture in Instagram. I've posted it before, but it's one of my favorite pictures ever. And I was there with my dad to watch the inauguration. Pardon me with a digression. Okay, I'll come back to Donald Trump. But I remember being here with my father and having standing room only tickets, which means we were standing very far removed from Ronald Reagan's swearing in, but excited to be there nonetheless. Reagan was sworn in on the west side of the Capitol, which is the recent tradition. Everyone since Reagan, everybody since 1980, although Reagan had to go indoors once because of the cold, like today. But in the modern era, everyone has been on the west side of the Capitol, and people forget that Reagan broke that tradition. He wanted to be facing California. So on the west side, which faces the mall and goes all the way down to the monument, just filled with people. So I was there with my dad, excited to be there, didn't have good seats, put on a tie. You'll see the picture if you look at Instagram. But when the swearing in was over, we were going to go back to the train and go back home. We were not sticking around for the parade. We walked to the east side of the Capitol, and in a pre 9/11 world, like I can tell you now, even though the inauguration today is not going to be as anticipated, the fencing is up. So when I arrived by train yesterday, I was able to see just how far away from the Capitol they were erecting the fencing that was going to lock down this perimeter. And it's an enormous area because it extended all the way to Union Station, if you know the lay of the land here. But in a pre 9/11 world, with my dad, having been in the standing room only area for the Reagan inauguration on the west side of the Capitol, we walked around to the east side of the Capitol toward the Supreme Court. And we were standing there when, after the luncheon that follows the swearing in, they assembled the motorcade for the parade. And the entire cabinet came out, and we were there. I remember Drew Lewis was from Montgomery County. I wasn't from Montgomery County then. I live there today, but Drew Lewis was a former Montgomery County commissioner. Reagan named him as Secretary of Transportation, and you might remember the whole air traffic controller strike and the role that Drew Lewis played in that. I mean, I remember greeting Drew Lewis and being that accessible to the cabinet and setting eyes on President and First Lady Nancy Reagan, President Reagan and Nancy Reagan. We had that kind of proximity. So we didn't stay for the parade. We really couldn't see a damn thing for the swearing in, but by happenstance, we were in this great position as the parade was forming. It was really great. And I have to say that I feel sorry for the folks really committed to Donald Trump who came to Washington today to watch the inauguration and aren't going to get to see it. Truly, my heart breaks for them. I've seen a number of people just in the last 24 hours or less at my hotel and around town. And unless they were able to gain access to the CAP Center yesterday or can do so today, and that's unlikely because it's only 20,000 people, they're not going to get really to see anything, which is a shame, which is a real shame. You remember, okay, to get back to today's poll question, is it going to be combative or conciliatory? You remember Donald Trump's first inaugural address. I wanted to refresh my memory as to why and how he used the words American carnage. So here, give me some latitude. Here's the paragraph that precedes that reference. He said, "You came by the tens of millions to become part of a historic movement, the likes of which the world has never seen before. At the center of this movement is a crucial conviction that a nation exists to serve its citizens. Americans want great schools for their children, safe neighborhoods for their families, and good jobs for themselves. These are just and reasonable demands of righteous people in a righteous public. But for too many of our citizens, a different reality exists. Mothers and children trapped in poverty in our inner cities. Rusted out factories scattered like tombstones across the landscape of our nation. An education system flush with cash, but which leaves our young and beautiful students deprived of all knowledge, and the crime and the gangs and the drugs that have stolen too many lives and robbed our country of so much unrealized potential. This American carnage stops right here, stops right now. We are one nation, and their pain is our pain. Their dreams are our dreams. Their successes will be our successes. And American carnage became the words that people remember his inaugural address for. W reportedly said, President George W. Bush, quote, that was some weird shit. He was speaking of the first Trump inauguration. So Trump this time says, he said this in a weekend interview with NBC, that his speech is going to be one of unity and strength. And he also used the word fairness. Quote, because you have to be treating people fairly. You just can't say, oh, everything's going to be wonderful. You know, we went through hell for 4 years with these people. And so, you know, something has to be done about it. You can't have that happen. And we shouldn't have that happen. Well, is he going to live to those words? Is he going to live to those words? Will he be more conciliatory and less combative in his inaugural address? That is the question at Smerconish.com today. My gut tells me it'll overwhelmingly be combative in terms of the voting. My glass is half full. I'm going to go with conciliatory. I'm going to go with conciliatory. And be in the minority as we begin this new year. Did you hear what Dave Chapelle said on SNL on Saturday night? So Chapelle comes out and does like a 17-minute monologue. I can do a 17-minute monologue. I might do one on radio today. But believe me, in the world of broadcast, it is so rare to be able, especially network television, to get 17 minutes. Like, I don't get 17 minutes on CNN. I get about 10. And then you've got to go to commercial break. So Chapelle came out smoking a cigarette. Really interesting. I must say, I like him. I like him. I don't like everything he says, okay? But I like him, and I appreciate his skill set. And I think he's smart. And the way that he juxtaposed Palestine, Ohio, and I guess I should say East Palestine, and Palestine in the Middle East was really interesting. But here's how Chapelle concluded. He said, the presidency is no place for petty people. Donald Trump, I know you watch the show. Man, remember, whether people voted for you or not, they're all counting on you. Whether they like you or not, they're all counting on you. The whole world is counting on you. I mean this when I say this. Good luck. Please do better next time. Please, all of us, do better next time. Do not forget your humanity, and please have empathy for displaced people, whether they're in the Palisades, or Palestine, meaning Palisades as in Los Angeles. That was Chapelle. Okay, 2 things I've wanted to say, though, about my poll question today on this Inauguration Day 2025. On the question of, is he going to be combative or conciliatory? Here's why maybe he'll be conciliatory. First of all, he just had his final campaign-ish rally before taking the presidency yesterday at the Cap Center. And it was quite a spectacle to watch. At the end, the Village People came out, including the lead singer who I interviewed just 3 or so weeks ago. I thought it was very interesting. I remember asking a question as to whether the relationship with Elon was going to last. And we had a poll question, and a lot of you thought that by Inauguration Day, it would be over. Elon Musk came out on that stage. You know who didn't? The Village People did. Elon Musk did. You know who didn't, at least when I was watching, was J.D. Vance, the vice president or vice president-elect. I thought that was really, really interesting. But maybe Donald Trump got out of his system, the red meat aspects, the American carnage aspects of an inaugural address. So maybe he's already salved that need. And now today can be the more conciliatory Trump. I don't know, just wondering. And then something else I wanted to share. And if I get a chance on CNN today, I'm going to say this then, although the speech will already have taken place. I want to talk about the room. I do a lot of public speaking around the country. Last year, by my count, 14 different states, some of them on multiple occasions. And when I arrive, I mean, typically I arrive and I'm speaking usually in the hotel where I'm also sleeping, and I'm speaking the following day, and then I'm immediately out of town. You've maybe heard me lament that I've stayed in some incredible hotels and never even gotten to see them. At the end of last year, I think my final road speech was in Colorado Springs at the Broadmoor. I came in, it was dark, I spoke at breakfast, and I left. But what I saw was unbelievable. But let me tell you what I always do. What I always do when I arrive, if at all possible, I go and see the room. I go and see the room. There's nobody in the room when I get there. Maybe the catering people are in the room when I get there. I just want to size up the room and soak it in so that when I walk out to speak, I'm already acclimated to what the dynamics of it might be. It's just served me well. And something that I do in advance is I always have a conference call with whomever I'm coming in to speak. If it's not a radio audience, like if I'm in the Sellersville Theater, or if I'm at the Lesher event in California, if I'm in Asheville, with radio folks, obviously I don't need to do this. I know who they are. But if I'm speaking to a private audience, I always want to have a conversation and find out, who are these people? Who are they demographically? How old are they? Are they men? Are they women? Are they black? Are they white? Are they R's? Are they D's? Are they I's? I just want to know what I'm dealing with. Okay, Michael, who gives a damn? What are you telling us about your speech quirks and habits? I'm telling you for this reason. It's much different to deliver an inaugural address outside in front of, let's not argue about crowd size, tens of thousands would have been there, and they would have been 90% MAGA. All the people that I just saw in the hotel, that I saw at Union Station, that I've seen around town with 47 hats, they would have been the crowd. Now, immediately surrounding Trump would have been people on that dais, a lot of dignitaries who aren't his fans, right? Not the least of whom are the former presidents. So because of the change from outside to inside, now the rotunda seats 600 plus. I presume that 400-ish of those tickets, 435 members of Congress, 100 members of the Senate, maybe they don't all show, but the bulk of the rotunda is going to be taken up by members of Congress. Half of Congress doesn't support Donald Trump. So, yeah, you're going to have Musk in the room, and Melania is going to be in the room, and the family will be in the room. And I guess they'll give Zuckerberg a ticket, et cetera, et cetera. But the hardcore MAGA people are not going to be there. And also, that room is so ornate, so historic, and so ornate that an American Carnage set of remarks is not going to work. It's just not going to work. You got to play off the audience that's in that room. And it's not like speaking to tens of thousands where George W. Bush may say that was some weird shit, but the people who are out there are going to love it because Trump's their guy. So the dynamics of this speech are different because of the location and the composition. I'm on a roll here. I think I'm onto something. Because of the room, not only the appearance of the room, but also who's going to be in that room. Who's going to be in that room. So I think that changes things. Now, maybe the speech was already written. Maybe the speech was already written and he's going to deliver that speech and that's it. Maybe they will not have made any modification. They've been busy for the last 2 days since this decision got made. So maybe it all goes out the window. But I'm telling you, as a cautionary tale for Trump and his team, these dynamics are different, and you've got to adapt to them. It can't be, and it shouldn't be, a red meat combative speech. So my glass is half full. I want him to be conciliatory. I want him to do some outreach. I want him to reference that it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And that's my poll question. Combative or conciliatory? I've given you the rationale as to why it should be. I don't know if it will be. I'd like to think it will be, but I've given you the rationale as to why it should be conciliatory. So go vote at Smerconish.com. Thank you for hearing me out. Will you like and subscribe the YouTube channel and set yourself up for notifications so that whenever I'm delivering these thoughts, you'll be alerted and can be there if you choose. Poll question today: will Donald Trump's inaugural address be more conciliatory or combative? One can hope. One can hope. I'm going with conciliatory. See you soon.